Hey, Rebel Bankers, this is your host, Chris Noggle, and welcome back to the show. So today we're going to do a little something different. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what I like to call the big lie. And we're going to talk a lot about what I learned in all the years of being on Wall Street as a financial advisor. And then we're going to talk about all the things I've learned in the real estate business, all the things I've learned from all the wealthy people that I've spent time with. And I'm going to talk to you about the secrets that nobody really seems to want anyone to know. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the big lie. But before we do that, let's get started with you. Let's talk a little bit about your journey to becoming a rebel banker and your journey with where you're at in your life and where you want to be. You see, the whole thing is, the purpose of this show is to talk a lot about money. Not just money, because that's cliche, but talk about how money really works, right? How money truly works and how it's used in real estate and in life. But the thing is with every single person I ever talk to, you have your own journey, you have your own agenda, and that's what I want to talk about right now is you getting started. You getting started to becoming a rebel banker, and it starts a lot of different places, but it could start with grabbing a copy of the book, The Private Money Guide. That will certainly help show you where all the money is and how to get all that money, but it also starts with you taking action. And I always think that that's such an important thing to talk about because we talk so much about knowledge and we talk so much about like getting the proper knowledge that you need. But you know what? If all you do is go out there and gather knowledge, you're not going to do anything different. You can't just get knowledge and gather knowledge and like absorb all this knowledge and just keep reading, keep studying, keep going on podcasts, keep going on every forum and every site you can, just gathering. You actually have to apply the knowledge, but you can't just apply it randomly. You have to apply it in a systemized way to get results. So your goal and what I would suggest you do is get started on one piece of knowledge. What is the one thing you can go out there right now and apply? What is the one thing you can go out there right now and start doing? That is where you start. And if it involves money, well, then start with figuring money out. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive into this a little bit. So we're going to talk about what I have kind of deemed and what I call the big lie. You see, from the early 2000s, when I was in my early 20s, I was working in the financial services. And I started with selling life insurance. That's where I started. I landed at a life insurance company, and all I did is sell insurance to people and to families to protect their legacy. And it was a beautiful thing. Matter of fact, at that time, if you don't know my story, prior to that, and actually during this period of time, I had retail stores, skateboards, snowboards shops, lifestyle stores. They were amazing, Fat Man board shops. I was also snowboarding professionally while I was doing that. It was amazing. But the reason I landed in the financial services world is because of the early 2000s recession. When that recession hit, my business came to a screeching halt, and I had to make some hard decisions. I had to make some decisions as to what I was going to do just to keep things working and keep things open. And I could have just let it fall and let it fail. That would have been an easy thing. I mean, this isn't working. I'm just going to go do something else and just abandon that. But I didn't. So I ended up trying to find a job that would give me time or buy me time and give me what I would like to call a transition period when the stores were starting to rebound and after the recession was over. Well, I landed in this life insurance world, in the financial services world, but the funniest thing happened. See, being a snowboarder, having lifestyle shops, I thought that's all I was ever going to do. I started liking it. I was always fascinated by money. I was truly fascinated by what money did, how it worked, and the fact that I never had it growing up. So that was a serious fascination of mine. But also that movie Wall Street, I watched that movie a lot when I was a young adult, and that movie was amazing to me, and I was fascinated with how all of Wall Street worked. So that's what landed me there. And I started off, kind of did really well my first year. I made more money my first year in financial services than I had made any other year prior to that in snowboarding or owning my stores. So I'm like, wait a second, there's something to this. And I continued on that path. I got all my certifications. I kept studying. I kept learning. I kept expanding. Got all my licenses, and I became a top performing advisor. I literally rose to the top very quick to when I was like the star of the office. And then not just the star of the office, I was like a name that some of the people knew in the company. And it was a very large multinational company. And then I started speaking on stages for that company. And then I got more involved in the investment side of it. I got more involved in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, market patterns, and all of that stuff. And that's just kind of what happened. And it kind of went by really quick. And the whole time that I was a financial advisor, I was still doing the professional snowboarding for a lot of those years. I had sold the stores off, but I was really focused on it. And here's the thing, and it's sometimes hard for me to talk about this because it's pretty close, and it's really hard because by me telling you about the big lie, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm talking down about some of my friends in the financial world. I'm talking down about some things about the financial world, but you know what? Somebody has to do it because there's very few people ever that were in the financial services as long as I was, 16 years, that leave the financial services. You see, we make too much money in the financial services. When you're a good advisor and you've been doing it for, well, let's just say longer than 5 years, you start making a lot of money. And as time goes by, I'm not going to say that money gets easier, but it gets more consistent. You don't have to work as hard because you've got your client base. And to leave that industry takes literally a big disruption. And that disruption for me in the 16th year came in the form of an HGTV show called Risky Builders. That was my disruption. That was the thing that kind of got me out of the industry because I had to make a decision. Was I going to be on TV with our own show, or was I going to continue being a financial advisor? Think about that. What would you have done? Would you have just stayed in the financial services world because you were making a lot of money and because it was fairly easy and you kind of just had it and you were just coasting? Or would you have ventured off to try and do something that literally could have changed your life in a whole different way? Something that not many people have the ability to do, and something that you have the likeliness of getting struck by lightning easier than getting an HGTV show. So I think you know where I went. I took the opportunity. And you know what? Unfortunately, the opportunity didn't pan out, but it allowed me to see the big picture. Because when I was working in the financial services, the companies are very, very good at training. They do a phenomenal job of training their financial advisors, teaching us what to do, teaching us all the things to do to manage people's money, to, be good financial advisors. That's what we were, or financial planners. You really kind of one and the same. We did a lot of planning as well. But they teach us so well that they teach us that everything works like this. Everything, and I'm looking that way, everything works this way. And you start to believe that that's the only way that it works. And not because they train us so well, we then go out and we talk to our clients and we teach our clients about all the things that we've learned, all the amazing strategies and things that we were taught as advisors. That's what we talk to our clients about. And our clients, we're the advice, right? We're the experts in the room, if you will. So they, of course, listen to us. And if there's enough financial advisors out there doing this, talking about the exact same things, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and all the strategies, the annuities, and all that good stuff of what we did as an advisors, basically that becomes the norm. And that's where the big lie begins. Because you see, our whole life, we've been taught money works one way. We've been taught that money works like this, and we've just bought into the big lie. Because you know what? When you, and I don't mean to get into the Matrix, but if you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, the red pill, this is the red pill. If you choose to learn and you seek the knowledge and you go out there and you try to find the truth and you start mimicking and looking at what the wealthy are doing with money. And that was my big aha moment, okay? Because I kept riding the roller coaster. And many of you don't know my story, and I'm going to come back to the big lie that money works one way. But here's the thing. The whole time I was doing all this, I was using that conventional financial knowledge. And I was using that conventional financial knowledge in the real estate world. And because I kept doing that, and because I wasn't seeking any new knowledge, I wasn't trying to expand, I wasn't trying to learn, I just thought I knew what I didn't know. And what ended up happening is, I would have success, I'd rise up, and then all of a sudden I'd lose it all. So I call that money and then gone. Then I'd rise up again, and then I'd lose it all again. Money, then gone. And folks, how many people have you ever known that have had money or came into money, and then it was all gone? Then they have money again, and then it's all gone. You hear these stories about lottery winners. You hear these stories about professional athletes that come into tens of millions of dollars, and then it's all gone. And you never, ever even sit there and ask yourself why that is. You just think, oh, they were foolish. And granted, yes, a lot of it is being foolish with their money. They don't do a lot of the right things, but they also subscribe to the traditional, conventional financial knowledge, the knowledge that we all are taught, the big lie. So if this is true, and if you even remotely believe anything, and this is just going to be that one little thing that gets you to think more and gets you to maybe open your horizons and start going out there and seeking knowledge like I did, because I got sick of being on the hamster wheel. And I was an advisor making a lot of money, but I kept going through the roller coaster ride and I couldn't quite figure it out. And here's where the defining moment came for me. So let me take it back before I get to that defining moment. And what I talk about with the conventional financial knowledge, just so that I'm not rambling and you don't understand, I'm talking about, regular 401ks, regular IRAs that are invested in mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, bonds, and then the annuities out there, because you're starting to hear lots about them. We sold a ton of them. Those things are toxic, just so you know. Unless it's a fixed annuity, just run away, because they're just not really good vehicles. I mean, there's good uses for them, but let's for today, just pretend that you just don't need them. And that's what we did. And you have to then start looking at, why is it that that's the only knowledge we know about? Why is it that that's what financial advisors talk about? That's what the commercials talk about. That's what all those fancy commercials you see on TV are about. They're all selling an annuity. They're selling a mutual fund. Maybe some of them are selling an ETF. And then you have to ask, well, why? Do you think it has anything to do with the fees and how advisors get paid for selling them? Well, I'm going to tell you something. It has everything to do with that. You see, a financial advisor has information and has access to information of the other side. Okay, the other side. So I'm talking about the money, the way money's taught, the way we think money works. Let's just say that's take your left hand, and that's the left side. And we just ignore the right side because we put the rosy colored glasses on, because we drink the Kool-Aid. But the advisors are drinking the Kool-Aid too, because the brokers and all the people that taught them teach them not only how all these vehicles work, but teach them how much money they can make for selling these vehicles and for selling these mutual funds. And you've heard it on TV shows, the RIP. You start getting caught up in that, and you're like, okay, this is awesome. You go out and you meet with your clients. You're like, I've got this great product. I've got this amazing thing. It's, you give the pitch, but deep down, you know that if you sell this, you're going to get paid a big commission or a big fee, right? That's just how it works, folks. That's the big lie. Start thinking about why you get the information that you do. Why is it that that's the only information you have access to through the traditional and conventional financial means, through the financial advisors, through the commercials, through all the stuff you learn about on Wall Street? Why is it that way? It's because everybody that is talking about that is getting paid a lot of money. Okay, so that's one side. That's wearing the rosy colored glasses. That's what I did for 16 years. And I helped a lot of people, and I made a lot of clients a lot of money. So don't for 1 second think that it was all bad. It wasn't bad. But now let's talk about what could have been and what will never be. That's kind of funny. What could have been for me, but what will never be for anyone, is the right side. How money really works. Not how we've been taught money works. We're going to talk about how money really works. so that we can stop talking about the big lie. You see, over on the right side is how money really works. And over on the right side is how the wealthy and the rich and the elite and the banks are using money. And here's the big thing. Here was my aha moment. When I learned that, and I learned that by paying to learn that. I learned that by paying for the access to this knowledge and these people. And it was in the form of a seminar. And I went and I started seeing how the wealthy real estate investors, how they were doing things, what they were doing with money. And my aha moment came when I realized it was the complete opposite of what I was doing. It was the complete opposite of what I had been told to do. It was the complete opposite of everything I was doing that was keeping me on that money, then broke hamster wheel. Do you follow me? When I saw the other side, when I took the red pill, quote unquote, matrix, when I took the red pill and I saw the other side, I didn't like what I saw, because what I saw was something that everybody should have access to, but yet nobody has access to it unless they seek the knowledge. And what I saw over here was a world where realistically it was simpler, it was easier to understand, and really it just involved doing what the wealthy have been doing for over 200 years, probably even longer. You see, what the wealthy figured out is this side over here, how we are all taught money works. That really isn't how money works. And over on this side, what the wealthy have done is they have the means and the ability to get the proper knowledge. Now, I just want you to understand something. When I talk about the wealthy, okay, I'm talking about billionaires. I'm talking about multimillionaires. I'm talking about the people that are controlling the businesses and the things that you see day in and day out. These people over here are no different than you. They're no different than you. There's only one difference. They decided at some point in their life to make a change and take a leap. They decided at some point to go out and take a risk or take a chance on themselves. And because they did that, they also went out and started seeking the knowledge that they needed to make their businesses grow. And then at a certain point, when they really needed to kind of get over the hill, they really started seeking the knowledge and getting other people, other wealthy people who had done it, to explain the secrets of the wealthy. And then they start mimicking that. Well, folks, you guys are no different. Not one of you are any different than these wealthy individuals and these billionaires. The only difference is your willingness to change. You have to do one thing different in your life. That's it, just one thing, and your life will change. But that sounds so easy, right? I could just do one thing. What do you want me to do, Chris? What is that one thing? Well, what if I told you that one thing you have to do is change everything? And I'm pointing to my head right now. Everything about your mindset and everything that you have learned about how money really works. Because that's not how money really works. You see, let's just talk compound interest. Now, I love compound interest, and I think there's a big place for compound interest. But what they've taught us over on the left side, right, the traditional, conventional financial knowledge, the Kool-Aid side, what they've taught us is to give them our good dollars today. And why do I say good dollars? Well, today's dollars, your money you have today is your most valuable money. Because you can look back 20 years ago. How many candy bars could you have bought 20 years ago for $1? How many can you buy now? Point made. Your money today is the most valuable money you have. But yet we give our good dollars to them today so that they, and what I mean by today is the institutions, the financial institutions and the advisors and all that. Anyway, they're not bad people. I'm just saying you would give them our good dollars today to get paid back with weaker dollars later. And you might say, well, how does that doesn't make any sense. It makes all the sense in the world. You give them your money you could have used today for an opportunity today to change your life today. We give it to them today to let it sit there and grow. Okay, maybe it's in a guaranteed account, so it's going to compound, or maybe it's in an investment account where it's going to go up, down, and you're going to hope that it's going to be worth more. But later, when you get that money back, when they give that money back to you, they're paying you back with weaker dollars, because they're paying you back with dollars. They're going to be taxed more, because you think taxes are going up or down? And I think all of you would say up. And even if they don't go up, don't they find more stuff to tax us on? So they pay us back with weaker dollars, taxed dollars, because we grow our money while it's compounding so that it's a bigger chunk of money. And then that bigger chunk of money before we take it is taxed. Why do we do that? Why do we give our good dollars away today to get paid back with weaker dollars later? You wouldn't do that with things that money buys, but we do things with money that we don't do with things that money buys. Let me give you an example. Would you buy a car today, park it in the garage, and not go out and drive it for the next 5, 10, or 20 years? Would you buy a house today and then not go and live in that house for 5, 10, or 20 years? Or would you buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, put it in the fridge or freezer, and not go back for it for 5, 10, or 20 years? I know that sounds silly, but think about it. Folks, I'm just trying to get you to think about what's going on here. We don't do things with money that we do with things money buys. That's the simplest thing. And that's what we do over here, compound interest. They want us to put our good dollars away, let that money grow so that they can use it, the key word, so that they can use it, and they pay us back with weaker dollars later. Well, here's what the wealthy people do. And here's the right side, the red pill. On this side, what happens is money is in motion at all times. See, what the wealthy have understood and what banks have known forever is they are masters of using other people's money. Not just using other people's money, because that's just one piece. They are also masters of keeping money in motion. Everything around you right now is in motion. Everything. My lips are flapping. The wind's blowing outside. The rain's falling. The planes are flying over this place. The cars are driving. It's all in motion. So why is our money not in motion? Well, over on this side, on the right side, money is in motion. Think about a bank. You go to the bank and you deposit money in the bank. What does the bank do? Do they just put it in a box with your name on it, go and put it in the back in the vault, and then when you come back a week or 2 weeks or even the next day, do they say, "Oh, Mr. Chris, I'm glad you're here. I've got your money right back in your box. I'll be right back. I'll go grab it." And they go grab a little black box, come out, slide the top off, and then there's your money? Heck no, they don't. You deposit your money at the bank, and the bank right behind you while you're depositing it, they are loaning that money out. Because to a bank, your deposit is a liability. To a bank, the loan that they're making behind you, that's the asset. Think about that. Because it's really so simple, folks. This side, how money really works, is really way simpler than how we've been taught money works. And it's so simple because all you have to do is mimic what the banks do. All you have to do is mimic what the wealthy do. And Warren Buffett says, if poor people would just do what the rich do, they wouldn't be poor anymore. And I know that sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, but if it rubs you the wrong way, you're not supposed to be on this podcast, just so you know. That is the truth. Because if you just got good at mimicking what successful, wealthy people do with money, and they had a track history, remember track history, they have had a track history of being successful with this, like the banks have been, you would indeed be successful. So you deposit your money in the bank loans that money out, and they loan that money out for people's mortgages, for car loans, for home remodeling loans, for debt consolidation loans. You get what I'm saying? And the bank is going to pay you interest on your money. Let's just assume they pay you 4%. And I know they're not paying you 4% because there's no bank right now paying 4%. Actually, there is. I know of my bank. My bank I use pays 4%, but you don't know of this bank yet. And you should know about it. And at the end of this, I'll give you a link to help you understand this 4%. I'll help you understand the secrets of the wealthy, and I'll help you understand how to unravel the millionaire mystery. So if you had a bank paying you 4%, and you deposit your money. Now, you're excited because you're making 4%, but the bank takes your 4% and loans that out. They do mortgages, they do car loans, they do all sorts of different things. And hypothetically, let's just say the spread between what they're paying you and what they're making on those loans, on all those loans, is 20%. You would say, wow, that's not bad. The bank just made 20% and they only paid me 4%. They're doing pretty well, right? That's a 16% net return that they're making. No. You're doing the math wrong. That's just the way that they want us to believe. That's not how much they're making. They're making 400 to 1200% on your money. Divide 4 into 20 and then figure out what that is. I think I did that right, or 20. Yeah, 4 into 20. It's 500%. You see, there's not a bank out there that's making less than 400% on the money you're leaving there. But yet we're doing that because we have been taught to believe in compound interest. And if that's all that we do is we just park money all the time and we just let that money sit and that money just continues to sit and grow and compound, we might be happy with that. But what you have to understand is that is not what the wealthy do. I mean, that is the big lie. And in the big lie, if you just subscribe to that, then nothing will change. You know, you'll still have success, but why not come over to the other side and really do what the wealthy are doing, what the banks are doing, and then you can really begin to see the truth. You see, the banks are always keeping money in motion. I just showed you that. But the wealthy are doing the same thing. And a lot of people get so hung up. This show is all about this. A lot of people get so hung up on money and how much resources they actually have. Folks, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. It's not about your actual resources. It's about how resourceful you can be. It's about how resourceful you can be. That will dictate your success because the money's everywhere. All you need to do is solve people's problems. And if you know how to solve people's problems, then you know how to get money. And it's easy. You might be saying, Chris, what is everybody's problem? I don't know everybody's problem. You do. Everybody has one common problem. They all want to make more money. That's simple. That's what their common problem is. They want to make more money. So your job, if you want to change your life, if you want to get off the hamster wheel, is start solving people's problem. Well, then you might say, well, I don't know how to solve their problem of making more money. Come on, man. Well, if you're in real estate, which this is, last time I checked, a real estate podcast, if you're in real estate, the opportunity that solves their problem is in that name. It is real estate. It is the house you're going to flip. It is the house you're going to wholesale. It is the house you're going to do a BRRRR with or a rental with. That's your opportunity. The question is, though, do you know how to present that opportunity? And what I'm going to say is just as I'm getting close to finishing this podcast, because I just wanted to talk about the big lie. I just want to get you thinking. I'm going to do a whole series of this, okay? We started with the big lie because first you have to understand and admit that you have a problem, right? You have a problem, and that problem is the information you've been given your entire life about how money works might not be how it really works. It might kind of just be the big lie. And then you have to start seeking the knowledge that I'm talking about over on the right side. And I'm going to do a whole series for you about not just the secrets of the wealthy and how to unravel the millionaire mystery, but I'm also going to give you some real good application. Okay, how to take this knowledge and apply it. I'm going to teach you not just where it is. I'm not going to just teach you what to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to teach you actually what to say to get it to do what you want it to do. That was weird, but yeah, that works. So this series that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I've learned. I'm going to show you all the secrets of the wealthy that I have learned in my journey, and I'm just beginning. And I'm going to help you transform your life by getting off of the hamster wheel. So with that being said, I don't want to do too much more because I can get into rabbit holes, but just think about this. I didn't give you a whole lot of really tangible stuff. I just helped you understand kind of this side, the traditional, conventional financial knowledge that we're given and why we're given that. And why we're given the traditional knowledge is because someone's getting paid a lot of money to give you that knowledge. And it will continue to get paid a lot of money, not just someone, but entities and the financial institutions. They make a ton of money. There's no secret behind that by giving you that knowledge. But then over here is a whole nother side. But it's a whole nother side that you have to seek out. You have to go on that journey with me to find that knowledge. So today was the first step in your journey, understanding the big lie. I will see you in the next episode of the Real Estate Money School, where we will start unraveling the different secrets and how banks keep money in motion and how you can do it. But what we're going to start with is we're going to start with that person that I told you have to solve a problem for. We're going to start with how do you actually solve their problem? How do you solve their problem? How do you take your opportunity and present that in a way that is not asking for money and in a way that is solving their problem I will see you on the next episode of the Real Estate Money School, The Big Lie.